You would think that from the last video that I did, you think that opening up would be a bit more easier. No, it doesn't quite work that way. Considering the topic that I'm going to be talking about, and which involves it's quite difficult saying it, it's still quite heavy. But in this video, the topic is mostly going to be on suicide. Although I'm not going to go into any graphic detail or anything like that, right? It's just more the what's beneath it or what was under it, right? Don't even know if I'm making fucking sense in this or anything, but I'll do my best for you. But yeah, it's on suicide, right? And I was going through a tough time, and this was back in 2010, right? And it's difficult to fucking say, but anyway, I was going through a difficult time, and I didn't know what the hell I was going to do, and I just felt like I was alone, right? But came a point in time when I decided, right, I was going to give myself a boot up the backside and get back out there in the world, right, and interact. And I went through a period from 2010 to 2011, and this was roughly about, say, 15, maybe 16 months. I did go out and interact with people, right, but I wasn't properly, like, internally, like, investing. Physically I was out there, but internally I wasn't out there, right? But in 2011, that was when I decided, right, get back up and get out there, right? And that was when I joined the gym, and I decided I was going to just, create myself a new, like, not ignore, but move on from what actually happened, right? And that was when I met my mentor, right? And he taught me a couple of things, and he helped guide me along the way, which I'm always grateful for, And a few months went on, and I was starting to, feel that, get more confident in myself, and starting to really apply myself and start to really enjoy what the outer world again, right? But a few months went by, and there was this particular night, my mentor and instructor wasn't there at the time, and I had done my workout, and I decided, right, I was just going to go straight home, because normally I would have went for a shower, things like that, right? But I said, nope, just clothes on, just head home. But as I was walking home, I was walked over a bridge through a tunnel, and then that was when I run into a childhood friend of mine, right? And we, did the whole, bro hug thing and all that kind of thing. How you doing? And all that kind of thing, right? And fucking tough talking about this. Why is it tough? Heavy on the heart here. But we go talking, right? And it's some things that he was saying, I was actually quite relating to, right? Some of the other things that he was saying, I was like, no, I don't relate to this whatsoever. So a little bit, no. But let's just say that when I saw him, he wasn't looking well, right? And before to that, I never actually properly seen him for like 15, maybe 16 years, something like that. We were more like childhood friends-esque. Like, it's like it's hard to say. We weren't like close friends because we all had like multiple like groups, so we would jump between one, and so it was that kind of situation. And he was like, how can I say it? Like, he was like a pain in my ass, so to speak, right? But although I wasn't any better, but it was one of those kind of like friendships, but at the same time we were like no enemies, but anyway, go on with the story. It was like we got into a proper discussion, right? And we decided, right, we were going to exchange numbers and then talk about going for like a night out for a pint at the pub, right? And talk things over, which was the case, that was with my intentions, right? So we exchanged numbers, and I was like, I was in a hurry to get home, right? I was sweating and like needed to go home again for a bath, right? But we exchanged numbers, we parted ways, and it wasn't even like a minute. I was just more or less getting out of view or out of sight from him, right? And my phone was in my pocket, and I went bing, bing, bing. Right, cool. Picked my phone out, and I seen that it was him that messaged me, and I put my phone straight back in my pocket. It's like, get home, and I was walking home, and I went to the supermarket, and it was still open. I thought, right, I'll jump in, get a few snacks and that. And as I was doing it, it was like beep beep, beep beep, and I'm like, fuck's sake. So I was getting at that stage. It's like, that can't be him. That can't be. But anyway, I got everything that I wanted. I headed home, and it was still going. My phone was still bleeping and that. So I gets home, gets in for a shower, all that kind of thing, and I guess sits down, prepares, eats a wee snack, right? And then that was when I brought my phone out, and it was like a big list of messages, and it was from him, right? And the very first message that he says was that it was really good seeing you again, mate, and I look forward to going for this pint. You're a good lad, and I'm proud of you, right? But then I searched through the rest of the messages, and one of the other ones was, "You're just like everybody else. I seen you take your phone out of your pocket and seen that it was me and put your phone back," and I was, oh no, crap, and it's no laughing matter. I'm not laughing at him. Let's just say that some of the other messages, the other text messages, it's no YouTube friendly. I won't say what he says, but there were colourful things that what he was saying, but let's just say they weren't really good, right? But then that was when I decided that I would contact him maybe in a couple of weeks' time, wait till he calms down, and then go for the pint, right? Because my intention was to still go and get a pint with him. And I decided, right, Christmas is coming up, just get that out of the way. Christmas and New Year, get that out of the way, and then contact him, then go, right? But then time had went by, and it was on social media. It was like a mutual childhood friend of ours. She had put up a message that he passed away, right? And she was saying that he had passed away, and it's due to suicide, and it really struck me, you know what I mean? I was like, oh. I was like, damn it. I was like, damn it, and cursing myself, cursing everything, you know, I was all over the place. Kind of like I am now, I was all over the place, like explaining it to you. And she was mentioning about funeral arrangements and it's happening such and such a time. People can go if they want to go. And something inside me just, no. So I was still wanting to like go for that drink at the pub with them, you know. And I thought what I thought what I was going through at the time is it's hard to explain it, but I decided that I wasn't going to go to the funeral, because I just didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to do it in the sense that I would go and see him getting put into the ground, but didn't get to go and have a pint with him, you know. Considering that what he was telling me what he was going through, and I had some similar things that I was going through at the same time, so I was intentionally going to go and have a pint with him and talk with him more about it, right? And then I thought to myself, was I even ready to even have a conversation with him? Like, would I have been any beneficial to him or anything like that? That was all thoughts. Heart was all over the place, right? And that affected me for quite a while. And I'd even this was also like way before this story, right? I was even contemplating that myself. I won't tell you the details of what I was going to plan on doing, but I was at a really low point, right? And my son, right? He was he was like 10 months old at this point. 10 months old. And he was like 10 months. He was a baby. He was rolling around, gaga and goo goo and all that shit, right? But at this one point, I had him, he was down with me and he was rolling around on the floor, doing all these noises, and there was a lot of things this was way before I had met my childhood friend, right? And I had a lot of things was happening at one time, thoughts, things I was going through at the time and things like that, and I sat on the floor, just at the floor next to my sofa, and I brought my knees up to my chest, my elbows, my head down, and I started sobbing. And I was doing my best to not make it clear to my son that that's what I was doing, but I was everything just got to me right away. And for whatever reason, my son knew. He was only 10 months old, right? And I could literally hear and feel him rolling off his back, crawling over to me, right? And actually used like my legs and my arms to like stand up, like crawl and literally stand up, and he could easily wobble in his legs, right? Like try balance himself, right? And the little bugger to this day, well, not this day, but the little bugger literally put his head down next to mine, and with his little fingers at the back of my neck, just tapped. And he has a little dummy in his mouth, just that. 10 months old, right? And my heart just fucking melted, right? And I thought, right, I better lift my head up. So I was still like that, but I'd used my sleeve of my jumper at the time to wipe my tears and then lift my head up, right? And then my son just, I think he'd own my stomach. So I'm holding him there, and he's looking at me, and he's got his little dummy in his mouth. And I was hoping they never saw that, because I think I still had some tear in my eyes, right? And he literally went like that with his finger to my eye, gently pulled his finger back, looked at it, and then pointed his finger back to me to point my tears back to me. And I was like, oh. But then he had a little smile formed like behind his dummy. And then all of a sudden he leaned in to hug me, but as he did, he head butted my jaw, and he was like, it's like my jaw hurted his head, but it seems like he just started laughing. And I just hugged him, and I just actually started laughing with him at the fact that he head butted my jaw. But I think the point that I'm trying to get from this story is that my son was only 10 months old, right? And just in that moment, all any kind of thoughts like that just left. And he was only 10 months old, and he couldn't speak like verbal words. But just something like that could just make those thoughts that I had go away. And then that thing about that as well kind of makes me think about my childhood friend, right? It's like, well, why couldn't I have just went to the pub to have like a little chat with him? You know? It's like, if a little boy, a little baby can make me change my mind like that, maybe an interaction between me and my friend would have made a difference. Kept thinking about that. And then I also keep thinking, is there really an answer to that? I don't know. And then you hear of other people talking about things like, oh, if only people would open up more and express open up more and express ourselves honestly with each other, and all come together and all that kind of thing. And I'm like, right, I'm sure you're right, but it's like, how does all this happen, you know? And I just don't know. I don't have an actual answer. I'm still trying to figure that out, to be totally honest with you. I don't think that there is. And also at times I thought, you know, if the loved ones were to ever to say something to me and it wasn't really, shall we say, good things that they had to say, I would say in a sense that they would have every right to say it. They'd probably be right, probably be wrong, who knows. Was I in the right mental state to have a chat to make a difference with them? I don't know. But, yeah. It never gets any easier. Life is messy. It's a pain in the arse. That's what it is. Sorry for swearing, but it is. It's messy. And I think as well that if anything that I've said here has actually brought something up for you, reach out to somebody, and contact somebody, you know, and, you know, even reach out to whatever kind of like crisis helpline along like your kind of local area. Reach out, because these things can happen 24/7, you know, and I think it's best to like, I just don't know what the fuck I'm saying now. I'm nervous as hell, and I'm just going to leave this at that. And if this story has actually meant something to you, if you've been patient enough to stay on and listen to my rambling and what the hell is he saying, thanks very much for staying this far. But if this story's meant something to you, again, you're more than welcome here.